thing I would say about this facility, I say to the guys all the time, you deserve to be here, just like everybody else deserves to be here. Nobody wanted us to be here. I cannot tell how many people tried to say, oh, when you're ready to talk, we'll buy it. We're not leaving. We have a history here. And because we didn't leave, Henry Street is different now. I need y'all to understand that. Henry Street was going to be high-end condos. And then when we didn't leave, that whole process changed. They're renovating those apartments. Those people are able to stay on Henry Street. Now, these ones on gas, nobody was there. But these ones that were occupied, they're renovating them and people will be able to stay there. Some for $600-$700 a month. That would not have happened if we would have left. This whole area would have looked different.
Yeah, good.
So if I tell the guys, you see people down here having fun, you deserve to be down here having fun too.
Everybody here today for our quarterly semi-annual Pathways to Inclusion Development Tour. This is a part of a series where we're trying to highlight development tours specifically for inclusive environments and inclusive developers. So I'm super excited that we're here today at the Anchor at Mariners Inn because this is sort of a one of its kind type of development, the way that they have approached it, and everything that they're doing in the permanent supportive housing space is really something that I think we can take away some best practices and something that we can sort of share with others nationally. So I'm excited to be able to share the project with you today, but I'm also really excited to be able to share a new type of development that we really in the ULI space have not had a lot of time to focus on in the past. And so here to give you a better sort of introduction to it and lead us today is Karina Jackson. So welcome and thank you so much for having us.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you all so much. And thank you to Lily from Scenair. None of this would have happened without Scenair. So the information I gave you is actually about Mariners Inn, which is the building behind this building. This year, Mariners celebrates 100 years of service that we've been providing, and it started at the Mariners Church on Jefferson that you probably passed so many times. They used to be a church where sailors could come and get a rest before they went back out. And then eventually ended up being for homeless individuals, substance abuse, moved over here in the Cass Corridor in the 60s. We built on in the 80s, and this is our newest development. If you have time later, because there's a lot involved here, I would love to give you a tour of our other facilities because they all have a rich history of providing services to men, but eventually we were providing women to services to women as well. So this building in particular was part of reaching a goal of providing real permanent supportive housing for chronically homeless individuals. It was a big undertaking. It was $20-something million facility. We got approved. We were number one to get approved for Michigan for tax credits, and we got approved during COVID. So that put us back a year. They gave us a year, but that also meant that once we got started, we had to get done quicker. So everybody in this apartment and on the second and third floor were moved in probably 2 days before Christmas. So they were able to enjoy their apartment for Christmas. So every individual who's here has gone through the process of CAM. If you all are not familiar with that, that's a system that homeless people go through in order to be assigned. But in order to be here, they had to be chronically homeless. So everybody here came from a shelter. So literally this lobby was filled with individuals with everything they owned and they had it in a shelter, and they came here and moved into a fully furnished apartment. So we're also moving our recovery housing program here. So individuals that go through treatment in Mariners Inn have the ability to stay for intensive outpatient as well as recovery housing. So years ago, because I've been here 15 years, second time, but altogether 20. When you got treatment, you used to have treatment for 90 to 120 days. Treatment now is 29 days. So I don't know about anybody else, but most people can't pay a bill in 29 days, let alone get their lives back in order. But through other opportunities with funding, we're able to provide intensive outpatient. So a lot of these clients are able to say 30, 60, and then with the recovery housing program, 6 months up to a year. Because you need about that much time to really get it together. A lot of individuals are coming from prison or coming from an institutionalized setting, so there are some struggles. Many of the individuals are dealing with mental health issues, especially with those that are coming out of a shelter and get permanent supportive housing. So because of Housing First, treatment is not a requirement. You just got a place to stay. They seem to think if you got a place to stay, everything will work out. That's not always the case. So we do have case managers on site that can provide services, but they are not mandatory. So many of the people here are still suffering, and we have to have our case managers work through that. So today, to help with the tour, we're going to do it a little bit, since you guys are going to Harry's, this is right across the street, we got a little bit more time. We have Shalonda Spencer, who is our housing director in Aftercare. So Shalonda is over the permanent supportive housing program, as well as the recovery housing that's moving over here. And this is Bruce Lindsay, our facilities manager. They are a huge part of how this was able to get done once the construction was complete. O'Brien Construction, really good construction company. Actually, a friend of mine that works in development was like, that is the best company to work with. Whenever she sees O'Brien, she knows there's not going to be any issues. Especially partnering with Scenair, because this is the work that they do and they understand the work that needs to be done. And just to kind of give a background on how Mariners and Scenair connected, there used to be an employee named Yella. I don't know if you knew Yella. But Yella and I were in a fellowship together. We were in New York for 2 weeks, and we talked about the work we did. And she said, you guys should talk to Mariners, because this was a dream of David Sampson, our CEO. He had an idea in his head, and he's like, a vision isn't a vision unless you see the vision or something, he said. So this is always a vision to his. So to actually see the vision, and then we sat down with Ed Podas, and they started talking about it. That was 8 years ago. So this started as a vision 8 years ago and became a reality. And the construction happened very fast, because it just so happened that winter, it was hardly no snow. Construction got done way earlier. We actually got dinged because we got finished way earlier than we were supposed to. That never happens. So as we do the tour, if you have any questions, ask us. Anything we can't answer, when we come back together as a group, it might be somebody else that did the tour that can answer it for you. And we're going to do different floors. So you'll all see the same thing. You'll just have a different person leading that. So if you have any other questions, Bruce is all facilities, Shalonda is all programs, and I'm everything else. And then Lily will be here to answer anything that has to do with Scenair or maybe financing and things of that nature. All right, any questions before we go? Yes.
Of all the different programs you mentioned, which are in this building versus your existing?
So in this building is the permanent supportive housing, which is second and third floor, and you will be able to see some apartments. So we got that set up. The fourth floor is our recovery housing program. Right now, there's a historic 114-year-old building next door.
Yeah.
All those gentlemen will come here and move to the fourth floor.
Got it. Okay.
And then eventually, the goal is to change that building into housing for women and their kids.
Okay.
So they can get treatment and not lose custody of their kids. So that's my dream. That'll be a vision. Hopefully we can make that happen. So because there's very little housing for women, especially for families. And if you go to treatment, a lot of times you have to lose your kids to the system, or somebody has to take your kids. So if we can work something out where you can have your kids have childcare on site, you can get outpatient services, we'll be able to help. So that's a long-term goal. And then in the building behind is our our residential treatment program. So substance abuse and mental health services, they live there. So we have the ability to service 180 people in that building. This building is 44 permanent supportive housing. And then on top floor, it'll be room for 44 men, and you'll be able to see those rooms. Nobody's in there yet, though.
Yeah, real quickly, Brenda, if you want to know the difference between the two, the second and third floor is more of a permanent support housing, so they can stay long term, like a minimum of 5 years.
Yeah.
And then the fourth floor, like she mentioned, they can stay up to a year. So that will be like a turn off, but they have more like clean studio type,
Yes.
where second and third floor are
Actual apartments with a bathroom, 1-bedroom apartments.
How do you get selected to be able to stay longer term?
So with the permanent supportive housing, And it depends on funding. You know, the way this administration goes, who knows? You know, we'll work on that when it comes to us. Probably when we had it next door, most people stay until they die. That's just reality, you know. The minimum rent is $50 for them to stay here. So if you don't need to go anywhere, you probably shouldn't. You're not gonna get a view like this for $50. I mean, even if they work, it's still just a percentage of their income. So once they're in these apartments, it's pretty much hard for them to get put out unless there's a lease violation. And there are situations where that will be the case.
And is it all folks who worked through the first
No.
pieces of
so
your
that
program?
that was kind of the issue that we had. So we already had a program, a housing program. They were saying our men were not eligible because they were no longer homeless. And we're like, wait a minute, you know, just because they got their lives in order, they're not eligible. So we kind of worked through that. They can do a transfer. So they did transfer from next door to over here because they were already part of that program. Anybody else has to go through this CAM process. You actually have to be in a shelter and you're put on a list. So most of these people were already waiting for housing. It just happened they were the next on the list when this opened up. So whoever was available, the staff worked through a very tedious application process. I'm not even homeless, and the process they had to go to get this housing was ridiculous. I mean, literally days, applications. And think about this: if you're homeless, you don't have ID, you don't have a Social Security card, you can't get a license with a Social Security card, you can't get a Social Security card with a license. It's all of these barriers. So it was not easy to get through that process. So even the application process required a team of people. So our case managers, who was it? CAM, HAND, which is Homeless Action Network of Detroit. There were probably about 5 agencies that worked to get one individual into an apartment.
Yeah, they need a bank statement, if you made.
Why would you have a bank statement if you're homeless during the shelter? You know what I'm saying? So there were times we had to say they don't have a bank statement. Like, we got to get them through that process. But it takes a case manager to kind of sit in and say, they don't have this. What can we do instead? They're getting their check and they're going to the gas station to cash it. You know what I'm saying? So people have to understand the population that we're working with. A lot of times they have barriers, and how do we overcome those barriers? So that's where the case manager is trying to come in. We have a property manager here that deals with the apartments and not our program. So they work on collecting rent, making sure that if there are lease violations, they work through those. The case managers don't do lease violations. So ironically, some people who's renting $50 haven't paid it, but they don't have a job. So how do you pay $50 if you don't have a job? You know, so that's the time when the case manager may come in and say, let's find resources. I don't think anybody here had to come out of pocket for a security deposit. If you're homeless, you don't have a security deposit. But there are agencies that will provide this deposit, but that's a process. I don't even think we've gotten them yet, even though we applied back in December to get the security deposit. So it's always barriers, and you just got to have the right people in place to kind of work through that. But this is not an easy task, which is unfortunate because it explains why a lot of people are homeless, because you don't want to deal with that process. I said to myself, if I had to go through this, I would have given up months ago. But then the day of moving, you see people in here with suitcases, literally that's all they have. We had some individuals like, I've never had my own place. We have a set of brothers here who always lived in homeless shelters since they were kids. They both have their own apartments here. So the idea that some people, this has been a part of their life, they're not going to know exactly what needs to be done. They may need help cleaning up their apartment. You know, so that's what the case managers are here for, you know. So when they do the home visits, hey, you might want to do this differently. We have an issue now with somebody that doesn't understand you can't keep letting your water run or clog the sink up. But if you've never had a place for your own, you don't understand that.
And the great part with case managers and the relationship that we have with KLG is to prevent evictions. You know, things are kind of above. So we step in with that partnership to make sure nobody is evicted or trapped.
So that's where that blended part comes in. So property manager on site, case managers are all on site, and we also have peer recovery coaches. So they are different than a therapist. They're really there to help you through the process. If you need a ride somewhere, you just need somebody to talk to that's not a therapist, that is a person in recovery, they can help you through that process. So we have a whole peer recovery program, lots of great programs here to assist the entire family. So even if you are a person who has an apartment here, we have other services if you need assistance with those services as well. So anybody that takes pictures, you can take pictures of all of us, can't take pictures of any residents.
Okay, got it.
Because the residents are kind of their own individuals. Program participants, we can ask them, and the individuals whose apartment you've going into, they have given us permission to go into the apartment, so we're fine with that.
I'm excited to have you guys here.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Business are really planning.
It's gonna be super dope.
Internship right now with the mayor's office at the agency.
All right.
Just to let you.
So when you work at the DEC.
Oh,
This is our office space.
so guys.
I actually have a peer recovery coach here today. This is what his office would look like. This is Joshua. Hey, Joshua, we have to see you in Detroit here.
How are you? See you in Detroit?
So this is just some office space. Show you here another office. As one of our case managers, Mr. Glenn, can they step in
Yeah.
in your office? Right? You guys can step in.
How's it going?
He got all his fancy.
Angelo Glenn.
Hey,
How's it going?
nice to meet you.
My name is Angelo Glenn. I'm a case manager for transitional housing next door and supportive recovery housing upstairs. I assist the consumers that we serve with any case management needs, whether it's medical, transportation, food, any assistance that they need. I assist them and connect them with the services that they need. So that's what I do on a daily basis.
How long you been part of the Marinazine team?
I've been here for about 17 years off and on.
17 years.
Off and
That's
on.
great.
Yep, I've kind of worked in a lot of different departments throughout the agency, and I'm grateful to be here.
Grateful.
So
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Glenn.
No
Thank you so
problem.
much.
So we have a Strengthening Families program, and it's pretty much where our residents, we get their families involved. So when a lot of people are using the drugs or alcohol, they have a disconnect with their family, we bridge the gap. So this is one of the kids' rooms. I can tell them it's around where we have sessions every Thursday where they can bring their family, and we separate the children. And we basically teach them skills, and we eat meals together. So that's a really good program, bridging the gap.
Are there daycare services that are potentially provided for the tenants, or are the tenants able to have their children on site as well, or no?
No, not yet, but that's what Miss Karina is working on.
Got it.
Oh, the building next door.
Uh-huh. So this is our other Strengthening Families room. This is where the adult facilitation will take place. So that was the children's room. These are the adults. We also have a summer program. Are you familiar with Rotary Training in Town? The 6-week summer program, and we have space for I think about 20 young people on site, and they do vision boards and all these great things. So this is where the teens and the adults will be. This is my little palace. So,
You got the biggest office in here.
well, they get a little something for the director. This is the mailboxes. So I will put I'll put their mail in here, and then they're able to go out there with their own keys.
Nice.
To get their mail. So that works. They gave me extra responsibility. This is our conference room. Sorry about the chairs. We're having a fashion show, so we had a meeting this morning in here, and everybody had to skedaddle really quickly. But this is our conference room. So this is where, like, if a resident has an issue, we have a case conference here to try to fix it. Our job is to put out fires, not create them. Open to December 23rd.
Okay.
Thank you. For the permanent supportive housing. Yeah, we're not open for the fourth floor just yet.
Right. Okay. What's your occupancy for your second and third floor?
We have 44 units,
Mhm.
second and third floor. Then there's 37 on the fourth floor, but a few of them are doubles.
Got it.
Yeah, everyone won't have their own room.
Okay. And are most of them rented out?
Oh, cool.
Okay.
They were full before they opened.
Yeah, got it.
So this is where our second and third floor, where they get their mail.
Right. Yes.
You even have a bike room.
We got a bike room.
Nice.
With the mail, the other room was for like the fourth floor?
For the fourth floor. Yeah, this for the one that's in my office.
Yeah.
Fourth floor.
Fourth floor.
This is our bike room.
Yes.
Real fancy.
Very important for individuals who may not necessarily have a means of
Absolutely.
transportation other than a bike.
Yeah. So this is gonna be the commercial area, so they're gonna put like stores in here eventually, like 4 storefronts, I believe, 3 or 4. But we're using it pretty much for feature events, like getting ready for my fashion show, which will take place June 28th. So the residents will come and they have a art and poetry event the day before. So we have a lot of things going on. Back there, you can, it's a little white down here, stuff in the AV, but I'm creating a dressing room. We got mirrors backstage.
Yeah. So what kind of retail tenants have you been going after?
I'm hoping a coffee shop.
This is a pretty big space, so
So big, that's why I want you guys to see it. It's super huge. Like there's a lot we can do. Well, there's a restroom here too.
Like a little exercise.
yeah.
Really.
Basketball court?
Yep, we're gonna basketball court. Okay.
But this is residence.
Yeah. Yeah.
You about to bring your
Trying
ball
to
out?
get, yeah, I'm about to say, like, I'm trying to hoop real quick.
Oh.
That is nice. Yeah, they're probably gonna have to separate this. Throw a couple of walls up.
Like 4 spaces.
Okay.
I was just like thinking how interesting it could be if
As
they
one,
were-
maybe indoor farmers market, or I don't know, not necessarily a flea market, but maybe something like
something
that.
where individuals like could be sort of entrepreneurial
Yeah, yep.
and have their own little booth.
Absolutely. There we are.
So this is our multi-purpose room. Lots of group things happen in this room pretty much. We may move the tables and have like an event. Like they did a Mother's Day brunch here. We're doing a day dinner dance and it'll be in this room. So pretty cool. But mostly it's just groups and meetings. That's why we have our boards.
So
From
do
the-
they do like education programs?
Oh
in
yeah, we do
here?
life skills,
Yeah.
AA, NA, any
Nice.
type of group of meeting. Groups and meetings, mainly life skills.
Yeah.
And the therapeutic groups.
The rec room. So that's not just project on the first floor 78
Because we had a community restrooms, well, on the second and third floors, their restrooms are in their apartments. This is the laundry room. So they'll get to do their laundry for free on the 4th floor.
So when you say recovery, I mean, is it specifically addiction recovery, or is this just like the temporary, like the immediate get them off the street, get them into?
They have to have like a drug or alcohol addiction.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them may have like a sex addiction, but we work through that.
Okay.
Along with the drugs and alcohol.
Okay.
All in the restroom. That was very important. And this is their facility. Take a look like here, right? That's their shower. So you can push them open.
So this is a male's floor. All men. Okay.
Yeah, but still we have to do our gender because we do have trained them.
Got it.
If they still have their gender studies, they're able to come. So those are the showers. I think it's about 7. Nice little restrooms.
Yeah.
So, are you guys familiar with MAR? The Michigan Association for Recovery Residents, is certification. We are certified, so we get some funding through them. It's like a top certification, and a requirement is for every 6 residents, there has to be at least 1 shower, 1 restroom, or 1 sink. So that's why we have 7, so that we can continue that certification.
Got it.
That's great. Every room is vacant, but I'll show you the singles and the doubles. So something like, let's just say, mostly everyone will have their own room, but if someone is new into the program, we want to give them a roommate just because it can be tough early in recovery and you are alone. So this is our dub. All right, so they have the chair, they have 2 beds, the closet space, and you can come check the closet space out here. Yeah.
So is it a scenario where none of the units have their own kitchen, even the 2nd and 3rd floors, or do they
All
have
of them have their own kitchen.
and no stove more specifically?
On the 4th floor, no stove.
No stove on the floor.
No, they don't even have, they have 2 hot plates in the microwave.
On the 2nd and 3rd. Got it.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be the same here?
Hmm?
It's going to be the same here, like the hot plates.
They'll have a room. So one of the rooms is pretty much set up for like a common area for them. They'll be able to watch TV in there. If
They don't bring their own TVs,
Okay.
but no, they can have stove.
Got it.
We've had incidents where doing a call on fire or a stove call on fire, especially if you're running in treatment, so they just prevent all of that.
Understandable.
But you wouldn't believe the type of macaroni and cheese they make on a hot plate. Have single person flame, so they have full-size beds that are twin, dressing space, plenty of closet spaces. This one's thought it was their closet. So we'll provide the hangers, trash bags, trash cans, things like that.
Oh, actually, this is. So what determines the single versus
The double,
roommate? Yeah, like how do you?
depending on your treatment,
Got it.
you know, they're progressing treatment. Some people may have a relapse, and we don't want them to be in the room by themselves, so we'll give them a roommate. Certain things like that. If you've been here for a year, really, they can stay up to about 18 months. Really, like let's just say somebody really, they found the job late, you know, and they need more time to save some money. They're working on some things. They have to address some legal issues. We can work with those.
Nice.
Keep them just no longer than 2 years.
Got it.
So people will get complacent.
Okay.
What's the split between single and double from the floor?
How many?
Like how many? Yeah.
We have 2 for now. That's most people who are transitioning over been here for quite some time, so they won't need it. But anybody who's coming in, they will get
Oh, so there's only 2 doubles.
only 2 doubles.
Got it.
But we have the capacity to create more doubles.
So you said there's like a community kitchen up here as well.
One of the rooms will be just kind of like a common area, so we'll just turn one room, put some TVs in there, a couple of couches, microwave, a hot plate.
Okay.
Hot plate is important.
Yeah.
Really?
So this is the premise of where the top is. They have those apartments. They're the same pool. The ones on the 4th floor, they have like the curfew. They have to still go to books and meetings, things like that. It's a more structured program. Okay.
So
Cool.
we have this program called the Work Experience Program, where we give a guy a job temporarily. If he does well, there's room for full-time employment.
Okay.
And we give them the chance to make mistakes, because some people, they haven't had a real job in so long.
Right.
So we correct them if they do a no-show, no call, no show, or if they come dressed inappropriate. We fix those things, so when they do get real employment, they're prepared. So that's what we get thrown away.
So when you're thinking about the retail tenants for downstairs,
Mhm.
are you trying to find tenants that will potentially employ residents?
That would be
or-
awesome, but I don't want to speak.
Right,
I think that would be great.
yeah.
It would be nice.
Our art therapist made this sign, welcome home, for our residents, and they can come here and the families can come, and maybe children. They have a little area for some personal space. But we'll go down to the 2nd floor architecture.
So do you try not to have children go into like the individual units or? Okay.
Yeah, what we don't want is the children running in the hallway, so this
Right.
is a little space.
Right.
If you notice, the 2nd floor has a restroom outside,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is great.
So restroom outside as well as in the units?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, just a public restroom, let's just say you and your family.
Yep.
Or they have a computer lab. Here's our computers. Feel good in here.
Sure
Yeah.
does.
I'll say it's here on the 2nd floor, not the 3rd floor. We got a problem. So yeah, these are the computers that they can use. Everything is mounted to the wall. Nothing will walk out.
Me too.
And which we don't think you would anyway. I'm just being silly.
Trust
but-
but verify.
That part. Here is our art room. So you see the umbrella, you'll see some umbrellas down here. These will be a part of our fashion show.
Okay.
So we're doing like a purple rain walk, so they'll walk down with their umbrellas. But this is our art room. How beautiful.
I love it.
Looks like they're putting together a puzzle.
Nice.
And Carrie Ann is awesome. She's our art therapist. She is amazing. Amazing. And then it's like the perfect view.
That's
And then they can just come in here anytime, or is there scheduled classes? Or?
Scheduled classes.
Okay.
Yeah, scheduled classes, but
So what type of impact have you seen this? Like, do a lot of the residents actually take part of the programming,
Absolutely.
the art programming aspect of it?
very therapeutic. And we also, they have art shows. They go to the DIA. A lot of their art is displayed. Like most of the artwork that's coming in here, a resident will probably create.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the beauty of it. They are talented. They are super talented and creative.
Fitness center. Wow.
You guys see what's my favorite floor? This is the fitness room. You guys can take a look.
Amazing.
There we go.
Yeah. We have our
Go ahead and
training
grab a couple of them
feel
50s
me.
real
I
quick. Go
want
ahead,
some.
go ahead. I see you.
But I ain't want to show you out. It's 100 pounds, but I ain't want to show you out today. Yeah, but this is really nice. This is not quite open yet.
This does not smell like a gym yet.
Yeah, no one has used it yet. It's going to be open to the residents in about 2 weeks. We want to do inventory. We want to make sure everything is safe. We have policies and procedures to put in place. Make sure no one gets hurt, and that they use it properly. They don't tear up any equipment.
Yeah. But you're gonna have someone here working with them, like a trainer?
See, I haven't thought about it. Do you know somebody?
No, I was just curious.
Look at it. I need to
Well,
train.
look at it.
Yeah, you know, kind of like a, what is it? Fitness therapy? They put a swing on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it will be important to make sure that they're using the stuff properly, like,
It's
because
also good
you
if
could
you
get
have
injured from
someone guiding them through the process so they can see the
That
progress.
would be great. Let's pitch that to Korea. Because the one thing I was worried about is someone getting hurt, or we're not gonna micromanage anyone, but I mean, a little supervision. You know,
Yeah.
make sure everything is in proper place.
Or
So yeah,
no, but that's good.
this is nice. Now you guys see why this is my favorite floor.
And it's all air conditioned. so-
It's all good. You can feel it in here.
Thank you all so much. We got caught up because I got emotion over here on this wall. So, did you have any questions that you think didn't get answered, or that Lily can answer for you? Because she was really good. I'm glad she's in my group about the 4%, 9%, the funding part.
I do have a question.
Yes.
So for the programming, like what's currently funding that from a low level? I'm just trying to understand.
Probably about 80% of our funding comes from Detroit Wayne Mental Health Services, Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network. So, and of course, their funding comes from the state, and their funding comes from the Fed. So, as of now, we are not negatively impacted. That may change, but as of now, Detroit Wayne, it funds about 80% of our programs.
Got it.
We get very little funding from the federal and the state government. Most of our clients who are receiving treatment services, they have Medicare, so they're able to cover that. So, and they get a bridge card, so that covers their food. You know, the individuals in the department. This building is Section 8, so they don't have to have an individual Section 8 certificate. So, it's minimum $50, and then or if you work, it's a percentage of your income. But if you do not have a job, it's $50 a month. This building is so beautiful. It's hard for the rest of the staff who don't work in this building to understand. They come over here into the break room and wish they had an office over here. Yes.
You mentioned that you just got promotion over there. I'm
Yes.
curious about the perspective, the people that work here, who are here every day, or
Yes.
who often are caring and providing.
Yes.
What does that look like? What is that? What fuels you? What keeps you going?
Did y'all go see George?
Yeah.
George is one of many. It's many Georges here. Everybody has a story. There are and for those of you who don't know, that picture is my parents right there on that wall. So, and I was saying a huge part of the work that we do, just about everybody's impacted by substance abuse, whether you know it or not. You know, mental health, trauma. A lot of us dealt with trauma from a very young age. Most people experience trauma in their mother's wombs and in their grandmother's wombs. But everybody has a story. But the beauty is when you see somebody like George or Robert or Dallas, who's our photographer who started out here in our Young People's Program and didn't talk to anybody for a whole year. And now he's going to college to learn photography. And he's going to be part of our art exhibit. We have an art show not next Friday, the Friday after. So if you all are free, we have our art show right here in the retail area. and we'll show the artwork that clients have made, and we also will have a poetry show. Because we also have a poetry program. So we have very different ways of working with the clients. On Mondays, they do sound therapy and yoga therapy to start their week out a certain kind of way, a way that they probably wouldn't have started it in their own lives. So we have a whole wellness piece with the gym. We have an outside gym, nutrition, you know, all those things tie into you being a well individual. When you are well and you feel well, you'll make better decisions. You know, when you know you have a support system. Our alumni, we have an alumni program with probably almost 1,000 individuals who have completed this program and come back and provide services. We're going to have a fashion show the 28th. People like to dress up, you know. They're going to come here and do a fashion show. We do alumni dances. We're going to have an alumni homecoming barbecue so they can see this building. A lot of them will never live here, but they are part of this story that we have, that we can celebrate 100 years of success because some people get it. Like George said, he went to 4 treatment centers before he got here. One of our other staff said he went to 16 treatment centers before he came here. Our staff is different. They treat people differently. We have more staff here that are in recovery than are not in recovery. For the first time ever. Most of our staff, if they're a man, they came through this program. So a lot of our therapists are in recovery. Our peer coaches are in recovery. Our maintenance staff is in recovery. Bruce will take you to a meeting if you let him.
Bruce, how much clean time you got?
10 years.
Yes.
10 years on the 20.
And something Karina didn't mention, she said we were different. She's arranged a cruise. We did one last year.
Yeah, alumni cruise on
An
Princess.
alumni cruise on the Princess boat.
Some of our clients have never, they like, you know how much crack I smoked? I never been on that shit before. Now you are on this cruise and you're not smoking crack. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And they give us an entire floor and it's alcohol free. They shut the bar down and they're able, and we're the only one that had a DJ, so people are coming from other floors dancing on our floor. So they need, one thing I would say about this facility, I say to the guys all the time, you deserve to be here, just like everybody else deserves to be here. Nobody wanted us to be here. I cannot tell how many people tried to say, oh, when you're ready to talk, we'll buy it. We're not leaving. We have a history here. And because we didn't leave, Henry Street is different now. I need y'all to understand that. Henry Street was going to be high-end condos. And then when we didn't leave, that whole process changed. They're renovating those apartments. Those people are able to stay on Henry Street. Now, these ones on gas, nobody was there. But these ones that were occupied, they're renovating them and people will be able to stay there. Some for $600, $700 a month. That would not have happened if we would have left. This whole area would have looked different.
Yeah.
So I told the guys, you see people down here having fun, you deserve to be down here having fun too. You know, people like the casinos are here. You have to live here. Alcohol is free. Alcohol will kill you more than any other drug out here. Alcohol and prescription drugs are a huger issue than crack and heroin and things like that. So if you can't operate among the entertainment district, then maybe you need to go somewhere else. But this is the reality. You got to live here. You got to be able to stay clean in this environment. And we are here to support. So if you need help, come through. We got you. Yes.
That's what keeps us going.
Yep.
Something I mentioned earlier, where it asked about memberships, because now mainly businesses.
Yeah.
Is there something you guys want to follow?
Well, you'd be surprised. I thought we would partner more with Olympia. They have provided donations for us. I wish it would have been a little bit different, especially during construction. They would not let us park for free in their parking, even though we had no parking. They said we can pay to park there. Nobody's parking there during the day. Why would you just offer us to park in? So we worked it out. You know, we gonna always work it out. But we have really good partnerships with foundations. A lot of foundations. McGregor was the first foundation to step up and fund us, a Jewish fund. There are a bunch of foundations that funded this being a reality. So that's a huge piece of it. Of course, the state of Michigan, the city of Detroit is pretty much funding the entire 4th floor. And now, as I was saying, no, that 4th floor is pretty much paid for by, a lot of it was donated by one individual. This woman used to donate $10 a month, then it was $100, and our CEO always calls and thanks people. And she said, she called us, she had been doing this for like 15 years. She said, how much money you need to finish? And he said, about 1.5 million. She said, my accountant will call you. So, and she said, I'll probably be dead before it's done. Well, she came for the groundbreaking. She wasn't dead. She was like, I'll be dead by the time you open. She was here. She got a tour during the ribbon cutting. And then she said, how much is it going to cost to furnish this whole 4th floor? So, She paid for the 4th floor to be furnished. So that floor will be named after her in her ballot. And she started out donating $10 a month. You never know what a person's heart is. She told the story about how she got where she got. So there are opportunities, very small opportunities that turn into big opportunities. So everybody has helped contribute to this. We allow our staff to give a little bit, even if it's $5. Everything goes back into building this. Because can you imagine coming here? Some of these people celebrated Christmas in their own apartment. They might have did it by themselves, but they were able to have their own place.
38 of them to be exact.
Exactly. We got 38 people moving in on December 23rd. And I can tell y'all, shopping on December 23rd was pure hell. Just getting to the store and trying to find things for the apartment. The day before Christmas Eve, me and my best friend had 5 carts at Target because we had 8 more apartments had to be finished because they brought everybody here. They didn't have anywhere else to go, so we stayed here until we got the apartments done. We were here at 8 o'clock at night. So
every apartment was staged. They came.
Every apartment was staged.
Beds were made.
Yep.
Pillows were everything.
The towels were in the bathroom because you don't know what a person is coming in here with. We're not gonna put boxes in your room and say figure it out. No, we want you to just come in here, and that's one thing you don't have to worry about. Is where's the garbage going? You know, come in here and just rest. I'm a huge proponent of rest. I could have a whole conversation about rest, but because we got a whole rest room for staff over there where you could just chill. If you need to in the middle of the day before you go home, some people got to rest before they go home because you may not get a rest when you get there. So.
Thank you for the massage chair.
Oh yeah, we got a massage chair in that room. Yeah, yep. So it's just important. And if we don't come 100%, we can't give our staff, our clients 100%. So. You gotta look out for your staff. In a perfect world, they will all make big money. Bruce always trying to get a raise, but you are rich in other ways, my brother. I say it all the time. I'm rich in a lot of ways. It's not in dollar bills.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you all. I appreciate it. Thank you. And I will share with Shannon all the great things going on. And a couple people asked how they can volunteer. Just reach out to me and I'll make it happen. We are in a transition of hiring people for different stuff. So, but anything needs to be done. If I can't do it, I'll send you to the person that can.